Hello students, we had already studied in the last class about the branches of geography based on systematic approach. Today we need to study about the branches of geography based on regional approach. So in the last class, as we already studied about the branches of geography based on systematic approach, there we had read about the three branches of geography. First is physical geography, under which geomorphology comes. Geomorphology divides or devoted to the study of landforms. Geomorphology is all about the study of landforms, their evolution and related processes. Like we had studied about the how mountains, plateaus, peneplains and different plains has composed over a different geological time period. That is the part here. Climatology is mainly devoted to study of structure of atmosphere, troposphere, stratosphere, these things, okay, ionosphere, lithosphere, all the different spheres of or structure of atmosphere and the element of weather and climate and climatic types and regions. So these are the main study area of the climatology. Then comes the hydrology. Hydrology studies mainly rims of water over the surface of earth. It's all about the water in the form of ocean, lakes, rivers and other water bodies and its effect on different life forms including human lives and their activity throughout the earth's surface. Then comes soil geography, mainly devoted to study of processes of formation of soil, soil types, fertility status and distribution of soil type in different areas. Then the second major division on the basis of systematic approach is the human geography. It mainly comprises of social and cultural geography, which deals with the study of society and its spatial dynamics as well as cultural elements contributed by the society. Then population and settlement, mainly on the basis of rural and urban. It studies population growth, density, distribution, sex ratio, migration and other features of population and settlement geography. On the characteristics of rural and urban settlement. Then comes economic geography, which studies economic activity of the people including agriculture, industry, tourism, trade and transport, infrastructure and different type of tertiary activity like services, etc. The fourth branch of the human geography is historical geography. Historical geography studies the historical processes through which the space gets organized. Means what time, what happens in which area, these things, how these things are related with the spatial analysis of the particular region. Every region has undergone some historical experiences and such a things. Geographical features also experience temporal changes and temporal features also experience or exhibit spatial dimension. So these things we will study under historical geography. These are the main basic division which we had already studied in the last classes, and they are here. You can see it here that there is an interface between the physical and human geography, and that interface is biogeography. Lives sustained on earth because of this interface, and this biogeography has mainly 3 or 4 branches. We will look here in details. We left with political geography in human geography. Political geography mainly looks into the angle of political events. There is political disturbance or particular kind of political turmoil in a country or not. Space relation between neighboring countries, means is there any neighboring country have any problem or issue with international boundaries, or there is a front or boundary. These things we will study in political geography. Then, as I already told, that interface between the physical geography and the human geography give rises to biogeography. Biogeography has many branches like plant geography. Geography is mainly related with animals. Ecology, ecosystem, which deals with scientific study of habitats, characteristics of species. Then comes the environmental geography, which concerns world over, leading to the realization of environmental problems such as land degradation, global warming, greenhouse effect, such a things. These all things we had already discussed in the last classes. Today we are going to discuss about the branches of geography based on the regional approach. So let's see what comes under the regional approach. As we already studies about the regional approach yesterday, not studies, we had seen what is difference between the spatial or the regional approach. What is difference between the spatial analysis or the temporal analysis and the regional approach? The first one, which is mainly related with the overall differences, means that first approach is mainly on the basis of taking earth as a one unit and study of earth as a overall single unit. In case of regional approach, we are going to study about the different regions as a separate unit instead of taking over entire earth totally. So here in the regional approach, there are, just see the figure over here. Firstly, there are 4 sub branches of geography based on regional approach. First is regional studies oblique area studies, means instead of entire earth we will divide earth into the different regions area wise. So regional studies and area studies comprises here of macro, meso and micro regional studies. So macro is larger one than the meso, and the most smallest region is divided into micro regional area, and we will look into these things to study the regional issues and regional problems related to particular geographical statistical information and studies. Then comes the regional planning. Regional planning comprising country oblique rural and town oblique urban planning. The countryside is also called as the rural area, and the town side is called urban planning. So regional planning is based on urban local level and the rural local level, means village area and the city and town areas. So what are the regional planning approach towards these two, remote area and the limelight area? We'll look it in detail here under the branches of geography based on regional approach. Then third one is the regional development, means we will work entirely for the development of single region. It will not influence the plan and policy running in the other region. Means there is separate, you can say that there is separate planning for a different region, and it must be like that. One planning will not overlap other. Definitely there is some sort of overlapping, but one area planning is completely different from other area planning in overall approach. Maybe some are the overlapping points, but overall there is approach for different type of area or different type of state, city, town must be different. And then comes regional analysis. Regional analysis, there has the two aspects mainly which are common to every discipline. The two aspects of regional analysis are, first one is philosophy and the second one is methods and training techniques. Methods and techniques. Philosophy includes geographical thoughts. If you read about the what are the thinkings, thoughts of the scholars of geography, what type of thoughts they had given, what are their principle, rules, regulation, what are their thinking, that will come under geographical thought, and that thought is separate for separate regional area. This thought cannot be applied on throughout earth. Instead it will be approached based on regional area with different type of characteristics of each region. Then B point under the philosophy is land and human interaction oblique human ecology. Means land have a interaction with human being or land with a interaction with human ecology. So that will come under philosophical dimension of or the aspect of regional analysis. Then the second aspect is methods and technique of regional analysis. Method and techniques are different from different regions, like cartography including computer cartography. Means for a particular region, maybe cartography is the best way of describing the particular region or the area or the entire earth. Based on this, we used to map through a different interpretation. There is different pattern of mapping. We will use these maps to explain and analyze the spatial distribution of different things over the entire region and area. Then the second aspects of the methods and technique in the regional analysis is quantitative technique, statistical technique. Under these technique, we used to stratify the data or observation gathered from the primary and secondary sources, and we will look into this technique further in detail. So these all four subcategory explain the branches of geography based on regional approach. Here we need to look into few other aspects of methods and technique for the regional analysis, and that further aspect is field survey method. Means people used to go into the field and surveyed and collect the data from the field survey and used it in other information and statistical analysis of the data. Then the other important sub branch of the method and technique, other important methods and technique for the regional analysis is GIS and GPS. So as you all knows that GPS is global positioning of satellite, and by using these GPS technique we can even right now nowadays can map a particular location of a particular place. Even exact point to point location is mapped through this GPS technique. Now the path and the area or the ways or the network communication channels, everything is linked through the global satellite, and this technique is used to gather the information of any places of entire India or the entire world. On the same basis, GIS is another technique which is known as geographical information system. GIS is all about geographical information system, and it is framework for the gathering, managing and analyzing data. This GIS is framework for the gathering, managing and analyzing data. Here we get the data and we rearrange it, and we will look into the observation, and based on that observation some sort of analysis is given, and this is used for integrating many types of data. GIS is mainly useful for integrating the data from different study discipline or the different branches of geography, and after gathering the data we look into the managing it or rearranging the data in a proper fashion, and then we used to analyze this data, and based on these observation and analysis we used to give the proper statement about the our observation and study about the particular topic. The other classification gives the comprehensive format of the branches of geography. Generally, geography curricula is taught and learned in this format, but this format is not static. तो हम लोग जो जनरली जो है ये ज्योग्राफी का जो डेटा है और कैरिकुलम को है इसी फॉर्मेट में पढ़ते हैं, दैट इज़ इन द रीजनल अप्रोच में, कि अदरवाइज रीजन वाइज हम चीज़ों को सेग्रीगेट करके डिफरेंट टूल्स एंड टेक्निक की हेल्प से ज्योग्राफिकल जो भी प्रिंसिपल्स लॉज गिवन किए गए हैं स्कॉलर्स के द्वारा, ज्योग्राफिकल थिंकर्स के द्वारा जो भी थॉट्स दिए गए हैं उनको पढ़ के उनको समझ के, और उसके बाद ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट लैंड एंड ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन के बारे में, लैंड का इंटरेक्शन विथ ह्यूमन बीइंग एंड ह्यूमन इकोलॉजी के साथ हम एनालाइज करके रीजनल डेवलपमेंट को देखते हुए कि लोकल एरिया के लिए करना, अर्बन एरिया के लिए करना है, इंटायर एरिया के लिए करना है, इन सब चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए वी यूज टू स्टडी द topic related or the subject we need to study. We used to go around that subject at the micro, meso and macro level. For example, here it is given that what was once mutual cartography has now been transformed into computer cartography. That is the tools and techniques which we use to map right now, that is also earlier used to be done by human being itself in form of manual cartography, and now it is transformed into the computer based cartography. Technology has enabled scholars to handle large quantum of data. Earlier they used to handle very limited data, but technology, the coming of IT, information technology and communication channels, we use to analyze large quantum of data at a particular time. Internet provides extremely extensive information. Obviously there is lot of kind of information is already available over the internet. We use and we have a free access to this information, and internet provides excessive information about anything. Capacity to attempt analysis and increase tremendously. So our from the earlier time our capacity to analyze anything has increased manifold and tremendously as compared to earlier time. Global information system, geographic information system and global positioning satellite has further opened the areas of knowledge. GPS now become a handy tools to find out the exact location of a particular place. Technology has enhanced the capacity of attempting synthesis with sound technological understandings. So we can understand that under the regional approach, these things have made the study of geography very easy in a very advanced manner, and we will learn some primary aspect of these techniques in our book, especially in the practical part of the geography, part 1, and we can improve our skills and learn about their application in practical portion. Okay, now the other topic which is very important is the physical geography and its importance. This topic is the mainly related with the a specific book which is part A, fundamental of physical geography. Under this part we will study all the fundamental rules, regulation, thinkers, thoughts given by different thinkers in a particular systematic manner in fundamental of physical geography book. The contents of the book will reflect the very scope of the physical geography, and it is therefore appropriate to know the importance of this branch of geography. So what are the importance of the physical geography and what are the scopes of the physical geography? Let's see it under this topic, physical geography and its importance. So let's see it here. Physical geography includes the study of lithosphere, then atmosphere, then hydrosphere, and then biosphere. Means physical geography is all about these 4 spheres: lithosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and the hydrosphere. The lithosphere all about landforms, drainage, relief, and physiography. Means whatever earth looks like, all the features or the physical features over the earth is all about the lithosphere. Atmosphere is all about the composition and structure of the atmosphere or the air around us. Elements, atmosphere is all about the elements. Atmosphere is all about the elements of air, control of weather and climate, temperature, pressure, wind system, precipitation, related precipitation system, and climatic types. All the things constitute the atmosphere. Then comes the hydrosphere, all about the water bodies, oceans, seas, lakes, and associated features, and water realm. Then the place where all these spheres will located together, means all these 3 features, that is lithosphere, atmosphere, and the hydrosphere, overlap together is the place where the life exists in the form of biosphere. The biosphere is all about life forms including human being and macro organism and their sustaining mechanism like food chain, ecological parameters, and ecological balances. Here, for example, it is given about the soil which is formed by the process of pedogenesis, and it depends upon the few of the important things like parent rocks, climate type of a place, biological activity, and the time. So biological activity is all about the activity of the sum of the bacteria and related earthworms like insects and organism. And time provides the maturity to the soil and help in the development of soil profile. With the time, soil gets matured and it formed a soil profile. So each element is important for human being. Landforms provide the base on which human activity are located. The plains are utilized for agriculture. Plateaus just is explaining that each activity is related with human being, and landforms provide the very base on which human activity located. Means over the earth everything is dependent upon the human being, and human being whatever does it over the landforms. So he is explaining it with the example that like plains are utilized for agriculture by whom? We people. Plateaus provide forest and minerals, and who utilizes this natural forest and minerals as a resource? We human being. Mountains provides pasture, forest, tourist spot, and the agent is we human being. And the sources of river which provides water to the lowland. This is the most important uses or the benefit of mountains is the source of river which provides water to the lowland areas, and this water is fresh water, and for all the type of organism or species lives over the earth, these fresh water is very important. Climate influences our house type, where we what type of houses we used to live in, clothing pattern, food habits, everything will depend upon the climate. Climate has very profound effect on vegetation type of a particular place, cropping pattern of a particular place, livestock farming, and some industries even. Human beings have developed technology with time, and this technology is able to modify climatic elements in a restricted space, not over entire earth. If we can modify the natural climate of the earth in a restricted space, like say in a single room or a single house or a single building or a single office. So here the best example is air conditioner, AC and cooler. Air conditioner and cooler is the best example how in summer also we used to modify the climate of the restricted place. But we can't do it in a same manner for the entire earth. In a restricted place we can modify it, like in a room, in a office, or in a building. Temperature and precipitation ensures the density of forest and the quality of grassland. Okay, this is common. If there is ample amount of sunlight and the rainfall available, then the density forest of that area or the grassland of that area is highly dense and have a better quality of nutrition. In India, monsoon, everybody knows that monsoon sets the agriculture rhythm in motion. Monsoon is the most important thing for Indian agriculturist, and Indian agriculture is totally dependent upon the monsoon for its entire life or entire rhythm. Okay, precipitation recharges the groundwater. Whatever rainfall or some other sort of precipitation in the form of snowfalls or anything else, that will help in recharge of groundwater aquifers, which will laterally provide the water for agriculture and domestic uses. So the recharge of groundwater is also very important at the same time. We used to study ocean, which is the storehouse of the resources. How the ocean is the storehouse of the resources? Not in term of only seafood or the fishes. Besides that, ocean is very rich in different minerals. Okay, ocean are rich in mineral resources. India has developed technology for collecting manganese nodules from the oceanic bed. So minerals like manganese, we can also heard that Bombay High is there for the collection of oil. Monazite rocks we used to collect it from the Kerala coast. So these things we used to get directly from the oceans. We lacks technology. If we will able to amplify our technology in such a manner, to the such an extent, then we will able to extract approximately all kind of minerals from the oceanic beds. But we are not that developed till now even. So we need to further work in that direction so that we can exploit the untapped potential besides the ocean, inside the oceans. Soil are renewable resources which influence the number of economic activities such as agriculture. Obviously, agriculture and food is totally dependent upon the soil. Fertility of soil is both naturally determined in the form of soil is actually a renewable resources. With time it will renew itself. So if the rate of exploitation of the soil and related components is greater than the rate of rejuvenation, then soil will always be fertile, and it is naturally, and this fertility is naturally determined. Culturally induced in the sense of when we used to put the fertilizers and pesticides, insecticides, then it is called culturally induced, means human induced fertilization of soil. So soil can be naturally, fertility of soil is both naturally determined and culturally induced. Soil also provides the basis for the biosphere, accommodating plants, animals in the form of their habitats and microorganisms. What is geography? We had already studied this in the earlier classes. So geography is the description of earth as a abode of human being. Maybe here they had given you the detailed information about these things. So study of physical geography is emerging as a discipline of evaluating and managing natural resources. तो हम लोग नेचुरल रिसोर्स को कैसे मैनेज करना है, कैसे पूरे अर्थ का सरफेस जो है वो टाइम के साथ इवेलुएट हो रहा है, चेंज हो रहा है. इन ऑर्डर टू अचीव दिस ऑब्जेक्टिव इट इज essential to understand the intricate relation between the physical environment and the human being. As I already saying from the first lecture of this chapter that we need to understand the intricate relationship between the physical environment and human being. Physical environments provide resources and human being utilizes these resources and ensure their economic and cultural development. Earlier nature was the driving force. As time passes, we with the help of development of technology started to give our imprints over the nature, and human being utilizes the physical environment or the resources provided by the physical environment utilizes the resources provided by the physical environment and ensure the economic and cultural development or overall development of human being. Accelerated pace to reforms utilization with the help of modern technology has created ecological balance in the world in the form of, as we in the sense of possibilism, that if we accelerated the pace of the exploitation or overutilization of resources, that will lead with the help of the modern technology, that will create some sort of ecological imbalances, and that will lead for some sort of environmental issues and problems in the world. Hence, a better understanding of the physical environment is absolutely essential for the sustainable development, for life on the earth to remain always, or to sustain always. We need to save something for our future generation, and that concept is sustainable development, and that is only practiced through understanding of the physical environment in the sense of absolutely essentiality of the all the species lying over the earth, and we need to use the resources available on the earth very judiciously without over exploitation. And this is the manner in which we can look into the concept of sustainable development. So that's it. I think today's class is over. I am stopping here. From next class we will start some other chapter. So by that time you need to do all the exercises, and whatever doubt is there and whatever doubt is created, you can ask it through Google Classroom. Even you can join the Google Meet online live streaming classes. There I will clear all your doubt. Same topics will be revised there in the Google Meet. So be ready. Okay, bye bye. If anyone has any kind of doubt, I will going to clear it into the Google Meet online streaming classes. Bye bye. See you.